I wrote this novella in a moment of desperation. As progress regressed and days took on a black and white tinge, I wondered how I would find my footing in a world with leaders so seemingly hell-bent to trip me. I have been a writer ever since I can remember, and though I've grown to feel proud of my craft, after having marched at protests for peace and signing countless petitions, after reposting and using sounds and liking and commenting, after using names as hashtags and after adding thousands of names to a list they should have never been on, the words I had been producing were suddenly too flowery to grant me any true feeling of self-accomplishment, no matter how well received. The following story is not flowery. The following story is a slice of life we will all soon see in headlines. The threat on choice is a never-ending one, and with the imminent nature of state decision, many uteruses will be forced to make dire decisions while dealing with unimaginable emotional turmoil. This is a story that explains the decision and its unraveling. This is a story that is real for many and could happen to anyone. A litany for survival. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone, for those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going, in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures, like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who are imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hope to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard, nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive. Audre Lorde. The doctor does not look at me when he enters the room. He is clearly puzzling over how to pronounce my name, squinting at the top of the tiny clipboard in his comically large hand, too proud to save himself the grief and simply ask. I shove away the instinct to soothe his discomfort and his own incompetence with a well-used joke. I'm sorry, my mother was high off an epidural when she named me, or maybe, good thing they invented nicknames, huh? I do not have much of a claim on it, but still, in adulthood, I have grown to enjoy the panicked quiet, the passive anticipation for the other party's ultimate decision. Plus, I have watched 2 surgeries of his, and counting. Surely he should know it by now. The decision is made. The doctor, Dr. Nelson, I recall, recovers. His eyes raise twice, once to my breast and then to the clock on the wall behind me before returning to his clipboard. He lifts the first piece of paper on it, my chart, by its bottom, between 2 pinch fingers, and peruses his next patient's. He has deemed me easy. My name will remain unknown. Looks like you're in today for some back and pelvic pain, huh? Can you tell me when it started? Outside these 4 off-white walls that reek of tears and bleach, the cacophony of the emergency room roars on. I would do anything to disappear into it, find a cut to suture, some attending to shadow. Instead, I am here, a consultee. I am 2 hours behind now on direct clinical hours this week, all because of it. It's been about 18, maybe 19 days, I say. I fainted last night after my shift. My supervisor had me brought here. I'm also bleeding a lot this cycle, as I lied to the nurse who wrote it in my chart. When was the date of your last period? I sigh. Now. Dr. Nelson nods once, unaware that I am officially considering this entire encounter a certifiable failure. I'll write you a prescription of naproxen. It'll treat the pain a little more centrally than ibuprofen can. Take it easy for the next couple of days. Menstruation cycles can worsen some months due to stress. I can pick up naproxen at Walmart. It's protocol. Have you been feeling stressed at all recently? I fainted. I'm bleeding through pads. Naproxen and water, then, to start. And lots of rest, like I said. We'd be happy to have you transferred to another hospital with a little more space, should you still feel wanting for further observation. Do you have insurance? He is still looking at his next patient's chart. I am late for my shift and in need of a bathroom. I tell him thank you. He writes the prescription and extends it in my general direction, then leaves, his shoes squeaking against the floor as he exits. His departure is marked by the dirty footprints he plots in his wake. The day janitor must have been here recently, and we'll have to circle back now, thanks to him. You didn't tell him everything, Janice accuses. He could have helped you, if you just opened up. I hop from the hospital bed. Where did the nurse hide away my clothes when I got wheeled in? Did Nelson lock the door? Do the doors even lock? They're under the bed, first cabinet. He didn't lock it. How long have you worked here again? You didn't tell him everything. My eyes roll heavenward. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm still here. You didn't tell him everything. You can request a transfer, try to request a female doctor. With what money? And their gender won't matter, not in this state. I don't even know why you chose to get checked out at this junkyard. I would have transferred. Not all of us are full-time employees with benefits. Some of us only have our 10 free visits. You're a cheapskate. I'm a resident. Leave me alone. You didn't tell him everything. Leave me alone. I wait, but Janice seems to listen this time. Thank God. The shouting has been losing its effectiveness of late. But maybe she just hates this place as much as I am beginning to. My clothes, as she predicted, are folded neatly into the topmost cabinet of the hospital bed. I slip on my jeans as I consider the room. I think I have a dim memory of the crack in the wall by the door and the way the 2 fraying leather chairs intended for the patient's company are positioned just so to hide it. I might have watched an attending do a pre-op consult here a week or 2 ago, but I cannot be sure. The rooms blend together between 24-hour shifts. I know the chairs were empty then too. I think the patient died. If Janice were here, really here, she would ask me of my next steps. If my mother were here and cared, she would kill me before it got the chance. I picture the doctor who disregarded my chart as another faceless provider with a prescription, and another, and another, and another. I know what is coming for me. Women thousands of years ago did not get naproxen to soften their its. Here, I make a decision too. I will persevere. Like the walls of the consult rooms, and the waiting rooms, and the surgery rooms, and just about every other godforsaken room in St. Gerard's Community Hospital, the walls of my supervisor's office are painted a palm white. She is too, as she sips meditatively at a cup of coffee that makes the paper of my logs for the week curl at the condensation of its steam. So She yawns. I picture something winged and filthy buzzing into her mouth. So, what's been happening with you? You're not usually one I have to worry about. My supervisor is a wiry thing, who only tends to come alive with a scalpel in her hands or when she is somewhere not here, as evidenced by the pictures of her smiling like an actual person on her desk. She had laughed when the chief of surgery asked her to lead a workshop on, quote, surgeon humility, unquote. I do not doubt her excellence, just her humanity, and therefore her capacity to worry about anything but her pursuit of continued excellence, much less me. I'm sorry, I say. I haven't been sleeping very well. No one here sleeps very well, my supervisor scoffs. Twice a year, mind you, her skin gets sunburned for 2 weeks at a time by the reflective waves of the Caribbean Sea by Cancun. A hypocrite and a tourist. And certainly no one in your cohort, or not anymore. We're low on staff. They don't mind the sacrifice. I would hate to see you fall behind. We are always low on staff. And space. Yes, ma'am. Her eyes sweep across my face. She is not searching for a betrayal of emotions, but of symptoms. A doctor always, even in common conversation. Just sleep? She presses. I remember the ice. I make myself forget the ice. I remember his hands. I make myself forget his hands. Just sleep, I confirm. Somewhere behind me, Janice huffs. My supervisor, on the other hand, considers the case closed and points her attention back to my logs. This week, she says, just this once, I'll cut you some slack. I know the flu's been running amok. Could be what's going on here. Go home, rest, and I'll see you tonight to make up for the hours you'll be losing. The caveat is inevitable, but it is a gift altogether, just the same. I am thankful. Maybe her upcoming vacation is softening her. I appreciate it, ma'am. Thank you. As I turn to go, she makes the sound of something remembered. One last thing. On your way back tonight, I'd like you to pick up cupcakes for the staff. We're unveiling the memorial space for Janice. Oh, how sweet, Janice simpers. Gas station cupcakes for my wake. I forced on a grimace at her most likely accurate premonition. It is not my fault that I am $200,000 in student loan debt and counting. Vanilla or chocolate? Either? Both? I don't know, I just forgot to do it myself. Anything works. Appreciate it. And give this to Dr. Butcher on your way out? Appreciate it. She is thrusting a manila folder at my person as she replaces my file deep in her desk, my name mentally crossed off her agenda for the day, and whatever this is, too. Janice giggles at my hesitation. What's the problem, baby? I take the file to spite her. Where do you think I'll find him? I ask my supervisor. I don't know. It's Thursday, so maybe seminar room? I don't know. Appreciate it. God, I hate her. Thank you, doctor, I say. She does not respond as I leave, her new task underway. The journey to the seminar room includes passing by 4 separate reflective windows, each overlooking seas of parking lots and yards of grass, now yellowing under scarce patches of snow. Before it, I appreciated the opportunity to check in on my haphazard ponytail in the makeshift mirror between patients, the new stain on my scrubs. After it, I never look. I would not recognize myself anyways. Me either. I can't believe the dream you had when you fainted, Janice says. I am not in want of a mirror to know she is walking with her usual pep now, though I cannot see her without one. Didn't you have that one last week too? And the night I came? I can't control unconscious thought. I hiss as I walk. I'll go to his stupid brother's office and leave whatever this is with him. It's nothing important, I bet. She wouldn't trust you with that. Probably a schedule for next month. His brother's in surgery. And mean. You could have left it with me. And whose fault is that? I shut myself up long enough to nod at a fellow resident in my cohort I recognize as I pass her. She flashes a blank smile back, overdue for food, sleep, and just about every other restful activity. Do you know where you're going? Seminar room's that way. Butcher's that way. Scaredy cat. God, aren't you supposed to be at peace? I take the next correct turn I can find. I am stalling. I hate that she noticed. She notices everything. I can hear her grin. I'm stalling too. I have always liked words. Novels, magazines, medical journals. I still buy a new dictionary every year. The gas station attendant, Patrick, his faded, scratched name tag proclaimed, was studying English education at the nearby community college. They were analyzing Macbeth in his literature class, he told me the evening I bought the pregnancy test. I asked him what he thought. Hate it. So boring. Some people sneak out early. I do it too, but I take the bus. Lady Macbeth is such a bitch. He smiled at me, waiting for me to laugh. Then, unsatisfied with the silence, he said, I like your coat. It was red. It was not mine. I asked Patrick if they had a bathroom. Patrick looked at my breasts, looked over his shoulder for his manager, and then gave me the employee key, nodding at the back of the gas station. a door by the chip stand. The key was attached to a paperclip. I took the test in one hand and my change in the other, and locked the bathroom door behind me on my way in. My body was hurting. At first, I had chalked it up to standing for 16 hours in a surgery, and the ice, and his hands. But then the hurt remained. Then it became unfamiliar. And then ancestral. To hunch over a filthy toilet, that was humiliating. After I washed my hands of gas station germs and my own shame, I tore a paper towel from the dispenser and laid it and the test on the sink counter. 3 minutes. Rapid test. My phone was dead thanks to the cold, so I counted aloud, meekly praying. 156. Our Father. 157. Who art. 158. In heaven. 180 Mississippis later, I checked in. Positive. Hypothetical be thy name. Well, I was not one to fail tests. They did not sell wine at the gas station, only Budweisers, other such Uncle Sam endorsed brews, and tall cans of miscellaneous carbonated syrups, mixed with wild card liquor. They were having a buy 3, get 1 free sale. A steal. 4 of those cans and a bag of chips gathered, I carried my treasure back to the checkout. Patrick eyed my impressive spread. Congratulations? Do you want a car, Patrick? Carless, I walked home. Or tried to. I was not quite sure of which road to take, if not the highway. I got lost in the back roads of the town I was raised in, zigzagging about identical neighborhoods. I considered hitchhiking. I considered making my way back to the highway and cloud watching in the middle lane. I considered the plastic thank you bag in my right hand. A can and a half of mystery alcohol and a fistful of chips cleared my consciousness enough to get me back to my apartment. It was the same as I had left it hours ago, only the air was colder and heavy with the weight of knowing. Heavy with the weight of having no one to share it with, too, both the knowing and the air itself. I managed to shrug the coat I was wearing off, skin itching as I donned it upon a wire hanger. I had not cried since that night, not once, but then, in that moment, under all that weight, I considered it. Wondered if it would relieve the burden some. But no. The thing, this growing it inside me, would still be there when I dried my tears. And I would still be alone. Not quite alone. I caught myself in the reflection of my living room's window. My boobs looked wonderful. For a second, I forgave Patrick for sneaking a peek. I pictured my belly wounder, too, and hair lustrous with hormones. I pictured swinging a little bundle of me about in my arms, singing to her. I have lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. Butcher's girlfriend was on leave. Maybe I could take a leave too, be out by the time she came back. If she was coming back. Gerard's would run fine without me. If not, I could find the strength to shrug on scrubs till the end and endure. I was needed elsewhere again, this time by someone small and mine. Butcher's girlfriend could do it, surely so could I. Meant you could have a sister. I just want to be the one you love. Butcher's girlfriend. Butcher's pregnant girlfriend. Butcher's pregnant fiance. Butcher's pregnant with his child fiance. I think that might have been when the alcohol truly hit. When everything hit. Somewhere after consuming the rest of my gas station poison, I found my pillow and passed out. Then, I had a nightmare. Then, the alcohol and the chips and my stomach bile were drying into my bedroom carpet. Then I found his coat in the closet, on the metal hanger. And words. Lots of words. I was a mother, but I am a doctor. and I knew what could be done. I fell asleep again. For all my trouble, I had the best dream of my life. And when I woke up, Janice was back for the first time, and I bled through my underwear and into the bed sheets. Well, that was dramatic. Your boobs still look fantastic. The last hallway that leads to the seminar room narrows as it concludes, and does so with 2 metal doors. I find its wall clock just as it strikes 10 a.m. Residents pour into the corridor, solemn as a landslide, rolling to rounds. "Make yourself useful and help me find him," I murmured to Janice. I can do that with my eyes closed. There, still chatting with the lecturer. Sure enough, there chops Butcher with a stout, balding older man, whose surprisingly commendable salt and pepper mustache is ticked up at the corners with pleasure at something the promising young chief resident before him is saying. Butcher is asking, gesturing, smiling, model student that he is. He, unlike the other residents, will be late for his assignment, and it will not matter. Not in his blonde-haired trot to the familial brilliance. He is months from the boards, the exam that will make him a resident. I still have 4 months left of residency before I even get the chance to take it. I wait. Janice waits with me, humming to amuse herself. Today she has chosen "I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire," a song she used to sing for the littles, whose parents were admitted to the emergency room to calm them some. They would stare at her with glassy, wet white eyes, take in her auburn hair, her sweet tweeting, and hiccup themselves into a nap in her lap. Most parents reemerged hours later, bandaged but alive. Some were replaced by pale-looking social workers. Janice stayed, no matter who came, rocking all the kids through their sleeps. I asked her why once. She said she hoped someone would do it to her Mitchie, if she ever landed in a hospital bed. She liked putting the energy she desired out into the world, in the hopes of finding me again. Yes, I know I was there. And I was lying. They all just reminded me of him. They finished talking. She also said it was the only song she could sing well. That was a lie, too. It was his lullaby. Butcher has bid the guest lecturer a good day. He still has the exiting remnants of a grin on his face as he turns, but it vanishes when he sees me, the ghost of Christmas past. I watch as he squares his shoulders before marching towards me, as if a soldier bound for combat. I could laugh at the sight, if anything about anything was actually funny. He stops his trek about a foot or so from me. He is sweating. He is sweating. "What is it?" he says in a murmur, blue eyes wide and sickeningly searching. "Where did you go last night? You looked green. You've been a zombie for weeks. Everyone's noticed. Are you pregnant? I've been terrified." I picture his face from seconds ago, with the guest lecturer, the doctor you would want at your bedside. Some terror. I plucked the excuse my supervisor unwittingly gave me for my short-term memory. "I have the flu. I am only here to give you this," from our program supervisor. "It's probably your schedule for next month." Butcher takes the file from my hands, and they fly back to me, crossing at my rib cage. The clock in this hallway ticks louder than the one in the consult room from this morning. It is disturbed by Butcher's whooping laugh, which makes me leap like a rabbit. "Ah," he exhales. "What a relief. That is a relief. God, with my girlfriend, my fiance, and our girl on the way, I couldn't even imagine what we'd have to do if, and my God, the road trip, the plane tickets, you'd have to leave the program, the country. Well, thank God. Thank God." He puts the file into the crook of an elbow and buries his face into his hands, chuckling. "Do you just like lying? Is that it?" Janice asks. "Oh, no. Oh, okay, no. I see. I see. He'd be okay if you told him about it, too. He would still be relieved. Thank God, I parrot. Butcher takes his face from his hands. It would have been a mistake. Everything that happened that night was a mistake. A bad night. I wasn't myself. You know that. No mistake lasts that long. No mistake locks the door. Shh. Butcher points a final smile at the lecturer, who has just left the seminar room, leather laptop bag in tow, glancing curiously in our direction. When he finally exits the hallway, Butcher's smile becomes a line. It was a bad night, he says again. And it's been 2 months. I don't know how you can't tell how sorry I am about all of it. I need to change my pad. But we shouldn't talk about it anymore, Butcher decides for both of us. There's no point in reopening old wounds when we're in the clear now. It'll be better this way. Butcher comes from a dynasty of doctors. Obstetricians, psychiatrists, pediatricians, surgeons. I am the daughter of a retired school teacher and a man I found on Facebook, thanks to an ancestry kit I ordered online last year. He has 3 kids now that he stayed for. The last one just graduated high school. They live outside America. His posts are written in a language I do not know. Wherever it is native to, he is from there. Went back after my conception without a second thought. So I never messaged him. I just deleted my profile. They probably have free healthcare. We both know who it will be better for. I was only here to bring you the file, I tell him. I'm going home now to sleep. I take a step. Butcher grabs my arm. Though his grasp is not particularly firm, I remember the ice too, and startle all the same. Some woodland animal again, now caught in a trap. Butcher lets go at once. I only wanted to ask if I'll see you at the memorial unveiling later. Hi. Now a laugh does arise in me, though maybe it is not a laugh, but some lacking imitation that drips of mirth and exhaustion. We were friends before. I laugh again. Friendly, I mean. Used to smile at each other in hallways. I'd love for us to be like that again. I'd love it if you tried. Butcher, I say. I had a friend. I know what the word means. Friends do not rape each other. I have been graced with the gift of a hospital-free afternoon. I will savor his shocked face in the comfort of my own home. I walk my way back towards the front of the hospital. Sprouting flowers sit in the corner by the coffee cart. Wilting roses, daisies, lilies, grocery stores, bouquets. Someone has put a teddy bear there too, since I last visited. She is laughing in the picture her remaining family sent in for her. I like to think her son took the photo, and that Janice was telling him a joke. Beneath her laughter, gold lettering etched into the chestnut wood of the memorial plaque reads, Janice Toms Willow, beloved receptionist of St. Gerard's Community Hospital, 2016-2017. Rest in peace. I do not sleep, but the lay is useful. I wait for my shift by the living room window. Sometime about half an hour too, I remember the wretched cupcakes. A gas station trip later, I am equipped with 2 trays of frosted factory-made delicacies and a cheap bunch of lilacs, Janice's favorite. The woman next to me on the bus is scowling. Some people are allergic, you know, and those are poisonous to dogs. There are no dogs on the bus. The rest of the ride is mercifully silent when met with mine. In moments like these, just these, I regret selling my car. St. Gerard stands unforgiving against the sunset, an eyesore of the highest degree. Cupcakes in stride, I drop the lilacs off at Janice's memorial and head to the resident changing room. I shimmy out of my sweatpants and into my scrubs, once freed from my locker. Should you even be working? I let out a groan. Can't you bother me when I'm not busy, at least? I have rounds. I'm just asking. Scrubs donned, I go to the staff room to drop the cupcakes off there, making a mental checklist of my patients as I trudge along. Peters in 2117, Lucy in 5249, Carl in 1226, Margot in 174. I grimace as it pulls and slides from me. I will need to fit a bathroom break in here somewhere, maybe two. I should not be working. In any other profession, I might have had days to take off, more considerate boss. In any other state, I might not have been bleeding for this long. Aren't you a puddle of self-pity? Has anything changed since I've left? I knew you should have stayed home. I am begging you to shut up. You left your wallet in the staff room with the cupcakes. I scowl. I know better than to assume Janice is lying. I turn on my heel and retrace my steps. I wonder if I would have been on shift tonight. I thought you knew everything, I mumble. She laughs. I only know what you know. That doesn't sound like ghosts. You still think I'm a ghost? I make it back to the staff room and crack open the door. At the table is Butcher's pregnant girlfriend, studying my driver's license on the table before her as she munches at one of Janice's cupcakes. Her lips are shaping syllables. She's trying to figure out how to pronounce my name. God, they're like cockroaches, Janice says. Just the person I was about to have paged, Butcher's girlfriend says when she sees me, frozen in the doorway. Left everyone these treats and a $10 bill, poor thing. Her last 10, mind you. I produce a half-hearted laugh. It sounds as though I'm being strangled. Sorry for the trouble. Sorry for everything. No trouble. Appreciate the cupcakes. I know they're meant for staff, but don't tell on me. I call myself an honorary. Are they for Janice's thing? Butch told me that's today. I brought casserole. Janice's thing. I nod. My supervisor told me to bring them in. I thought I'd pot them somewhere public for everyone to have at. Butcher says she wants everything at the front desk by the memorial. The casserole just has to set in the fridge. I'm happy to bring them, if you have to get going. I'm headed out anyways. Back to my cave I go. Get your paws off my weight cupcakes, Janice shrieks. I wince. Thanks, I've got it. I go to the table and slide them from its wooden surface and into my chest, preparing to scurry off. He is chuckling, and she is eating a cupcake. Well, hey, in lighter news, Butcher's girlfriend is quick, despite her belly. She flies closer to my side, brown, shiny curls shaking as she lands. I'm having a shower. I thought it'd be so special to have all the girls in our cohort there. Yay! It's this Saturday. Are you busy? Of course she's not busy. All the girls? I ask. Special? We are cordial to one another, certainly, but not companions. We all got so close after that round of cuts last year. Oh. And even after I left, so many of y'all kept me in the loop with things, kept me sane on bed rest. She smiles at me. It is apologetic. You're always so focused. Or not here. I figured you just might have another job to help pay the bills, and that's why I've never seen you outside of Gerard's. With what time? I guess even before the ice, my supervisor's sunburnt skin has always appealed to me. I craved her excellence, her life. I had buried myself in want, in studying, in surgery. I surmise I really am alone. I am being destroyed as I break its rent agreement in me, and my cohort gets their nails done together. They help Butcher's girlfriend brainstorm nursery room furniture. They probably have a group chat. I'm not sure if Sorry. I might have the flu. I hate to get anyone else sick. Butcher's girlfriend nods. At once disappointed, but altogether not overtly surprised, she takes a Broadway-worthy pace back from me. I'll text you the address still, in case you feel better. What's your phone number? I give my rapist pregnant girlfriend my phone number. She calls my phone in front of me. It vibrates hotly in the pocket of my scrub pants. Thanks, she chirps, and happy roundin'. Janice was off her shift already. The night with Butcher, and the ice, and his car. She had left me a coffee at her desk before she had grabbed Mitchie from the hospital daycare and packed him into her station wagon. It was a thanks for consoling her earlier. Her ex-husband had been threatening a custody battle for months, and the papers had finally hit her mailbox this morning. Her ex-husband was a lawyer. Janice made about $46,000 a year with overtime. Butcher's fiance was on bed rest, still holding on to the idea of a post-holiday return. He had lost a patient that night. Not his first as chief resident, but his most formative, certainly. A choice he had made. A cavalier flick of his wrist that caused a flatline. No attending's direction, no textbook, just something he hoped would help and gain him praise. His brother, his father's first heir and therefore first lieutenant, had graced us with his presence by watching the procedure from the gallery with us. We all heard him yelling at Butcher by the scrub sink later, watched Butcher approach us with bloodshot eyes and a reddened cheek. Butcher was smart, of course, but his brother was legend. Youngest chief resident in 2 decades, fellowship offers abound straight after. Highest revenue-producing attending now, a fact he is unafraid to flaunt about in the hospital. My mother would have said he had every right to boast, and to yell at Butcher, to slap. It was a simple procedure, really. Butcher was spending too much time with his girlfriend, playing house, playing father. Butcher, you've been embarrassing us. Butcher, your little fiancé dropped out of the program thanks to you, and you do this. Butcher, you'll have nothing left if you lose this. Butcher, you're not me. Butcher, you can't be. You're not good enough. Butcher, wake up. Little League, football, student body elected officials, the prize Butcher's sons had seen it all together, despite nearly a decade's worth of years between their ages. Butcher's life ended a little for a while after his brother spoke to him like that, slapped him like that. To be reprimanded by the man he had written his college admissions essay on. Poor thing. His heart had stopped like the patience he had lost on the table. Our shift ended. I remember watching him put his face in his palms as he sat on the metal bench in the resident changing room. Med students circled around him like ants in a colony, then, slowly, flitted away, too tired to tame the whispers, but too tired to stick around for more, pointing looks of pity in his direction. I remember considering whether to go and put my hand on his shoulder, tell him I was sorry we all had tuned in. I gave him the room instead, and headed for my car. In the front waiting area, lingerers of Butcher's cohort still had his name on their lips. The ordeal being treated as gossip felt trite to me, and the pairs of whisperers just made me miss Janice. I went on, past the coffee cart in its vacant corner, the front doors, the metal detector. The parking lot was an abyss of slick pavement, laminated with black ice. I think it was November, or maybe just December. I edged my way to my car at the end of the lot, cursing the Converse I had chosen to wear on this iceless morning. My Hyundai shone with melting snow in the distance, the blue-ribboned finish line. Almost there. I slipped and fell face first into the concrete about a quarter of the way to my destination, using my bag to soften my fall. A groan emanated from my gut, and blood from my nose, as hot pain made its frenzied way down my chest and thighs. I went to push myself to stand, unthinking in my addled state, but could not. Another's hands had stopped me. Try to flip over and lay still. Just want to make sure nothing's broken before you get up again. That was a bad fall. It was Butcher, all wrapped up in a puffy red jacket and a woolly scarf. There were 2 of him. I did as I was told. His hands searched up and down my arms, legs, torso, and then finally my head and face. He wiped away the worst of the red slick on my upper lip with his glove. A moment later, blue eyes peered into mine, and Butcher made a light sound of reproach. Not enough light. Come on, let me help you to my car. We'll get you back to the hospital if anything is seriously wrong. Does anything hurt? My body? Butcher let out what I could only assume was a helpless laugh. Okay, no problem. Good thing you're with a doctor. I'm a doctor. I know. I've seen you around the hospital. Can you walk, do you think? I think. I slowly rose. While the world did not spin, it teetered, and my hand went to grab at Butcher's arm. He moved so he was just about stooping at my side and put my arm around his shoulder. We clambered to his Jeep. My nose leaked. He opened the back door and I poured in. There was an unopened baby car seat on the floor. It looked complicated and expensive and heavy. Standard protocol. Ignore the mess, Butcher apologized as he removed his gloves. I blearily managed to locate stray napkins at the bottom of my purse, bunched them up, and put them to my nostrils. Congratulations. The baby and the engagement. Appreciate it. Butcher flipped on the car ceiling light and stared for about 10 Mississippis into each of my eyes, deciding. No pupil dilation. I think you're in the clear. I nodded as slowly as I could manage. Thanks. Might want to invest in boots. I laughed. I'm just not very good at planning. I never look at the forecast before I leave in the morning. Butcher lifted his foot to my view. It was Converse-clad too. Me neither. I smiled at him. Thanks again for the assist. I should probably get home and ice up before tomorrow. Back again. Well, at least let me drive you to your car. It's fine. It's 2 seconds away. Please. Occasionally, turning down a kindness is foolish. I thought this was one of those times. But he shouldn't have known what your car looked like. Okay, thank you. You don't have to. Butcher leaned over the driver's seat to start his SUV, midriff peeking from under his coat. He procured his keys from his pant pocket and flicked on the engine. He was still somewhat tan, even in the sunless winter. His face was losing the red tinge the cold outside had brought, but the blush spot from the slap was still somewhat apparent. It's not a problem. I need to help someone today. You had to inform the family? Butcher sat back beside me and fiddled with his name tag keychain. The car smelled of heat. The attending thought it would be good practice, or said it would be. I think she just wanted to punish me. People die. It wasn't your fault. We're here to learn, right? They've killed people too. My brother's been on a winning streak since August. Since August. Not forever. Butcher smiled. I remember feeling pleased with myself at it. Still missing Janice, but a little starved of human connection outside her and cloud watching with Mitchie. Butcher is the pretty type of boy. Blue eyes, honey lashes, clean jaw, an angel of Michelangelo's. I remember thinking his girlfriend was lucky she had found one of the good ones. More than anything, I remember wanting ice for my head. We sat near each other at Nelson's last seminar, right? Butcher asked. I nodded. Our program supervisor talks about you all the time, even to my cohort. Says you got steady hands. High praise from her. You're a couple years behind me, right? Watch out, you might take my job and be the next youngest chief resident. Still thinking of changing specialties? How he had known about that, I never did figure out. I never have time to think. Butcher laughed. What would you switch to anyway? Gynecology, maybe, if it's still legal to study by the time we graduate. Still happy with general? I was starting to lose hope he would get to the front soon, but at least he was seeming to be enjoying the conversation. Maybe he was keeping his mind off things. Good practice for bedside manner, I assumed. It'll do. My fiancé's grateful for it. Better schedule for when our girl comes. Fair. What do you want? Butcher laughed. I envied the janitors. He regarded me. Does your family have a say in what you choose? I ran away from home, I deadpanned. Butcher's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I'm kidding. Kind of. But no, my mother does not have a say in what I do. No one does. I do not envy you. Butcher looked down at his keys again. I'm sure you heard what happened by the sink. Sorry for the noise. Ian got my dad's lungs. I'm sorry that happened to you. Don't worry. I've gotten used to it. Getting it from all sides nowadays. Not the best background noise for studying or sleeping, but he shrugged. I was not quite sure what to say, so I repeated myself. I don't envy you. I do. You don't. Despite it all, they care, in their own strange way. They're here. You're about to be a surgeon with a wife and a surgeon in training coming soon. You're getting there. You'll get there. Butcher still made no move to the driver's seat as he conceded with a short nod. The ceiling light was still on too, making my vision thick with bright stars. I just wish I could forget for a second, you know? Just not be me. For a little while. Does he have no one else to talk about this with? I supposed I was a bit of a hypocrite, but I was growing doubtful of his thumbs-up diagnosis. My head was pounding between his words, and my nose was leaking too steadily to not be broken. If you forget, you'll lose sight of why you're here. I told him what I told myself, even then. Persevere. It is in this moment that Butcher kisses me. At once, it is unpleasant, the kiss that men think women secretly crave, a crashing of chapped lips and stale breath. I mumble protest against his mouth. I remember the ice. This is wrong. This is wedding bands and car seats. Butcher, I push at his chest. Butch. His hands go to my hair. For a moment, he is carting careful fingers through the strands, almost petting me. I wonder how long I will have to put up with all this tenderness before I can make another attempt to break away. His poor fiancé, he is no luck. Then, Butcher is bashing my head against the car seat box. My eyelashes clump with my own blood as my body crumples like a Barbie with broken joints. He is upon me at once, petting my crimsoned hair now with one hand, sliding off my Converse with the other, and then undoing the button of my jeans. I can recall finding the strength to raise my hand, to find the door, the window, a button, and escape. Butcher gives it a slap as resounding as the one he received from his brother, and pins it under his, now limp. I just want to forget, for a little while. He says again, almost to himself. I want you to help me forget. Help me heal. Be my doctor now. I'll be fast, baby. Won't you help me forget? Give me your brilliance. Show me those fast hands. Let's forget together. He is not fast. The only thing I forget is my name at the bottom of his car. When he is through, he drives me to my car, as promised, half rifling through my bag to find my keys and half swerving about to miss patches of ice. We arrive promptly. He wraps me in his jacket, deposits me in my passenger seat, and stands there. I wonder if he is considering killing me. He ultimately decides and closes the door. The brights of his Jeep draw in the veins of my eyelids. He has left. Sometime later, I found my body again. I wailed at what was left of my limbs and went to call Janice. She did not answer. I did not know what time it was. I fell asleep in the icy parking lot. The next morning, since I was already there, I went to work. Upon my arrival, my supervisor asked me what candy my cohort liked, like I knew any of them well enough to answer. Why, ma'am? I said instead. Oh, y'all's favorite receptionist died last night on her way home. Her ex-husband called this morning to let us know. Car hit a tree, head through a windshield. Baby Mitchie's gone too, poor thing. She put him in the passenger seat. I thought candy might break the news easier. Whenever I do catch a moment's sleep these days, the ice and his hands inevitably come. Janice wakes me mid-choke. In the mirror, in the corner of the on-call room, she is glowering. You know you also get 10 free therapy visits, right? I rub the ice from my face. Am I late? You're still at work, Janice laughs. It's 1 a.m. You rounded, 3 got discharged. Your supervisor's in surgery, so you took a nap to while away the time. I do not have time to while. She might have put my name on the board. Well, the board's not in the pillow. Up and at 'em. Our board, unlike the technological wonders of the city hospitals surrounding ours, is still just a whiteboard. The nurse with the neatest handwriting prints out the resident's last name next to our assigned patients and their room numbers. The surgicals get an attending's last name too, and a letter, an assignment of an operation room. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I murmur, crossing my left pointer and middle finger. Janice snickers. Have you seen yourself? You'd be lucky to watch someone relocate a shoulder. We find my name together 3 times. No surgeries. I gather the charts from the nurse at the desk on this floor. The patients are pregnancies. A woman at risk of an early delivery I am to orient and keep comfortable for a month-long stay, an epidural to assist on, and a possible future C, depending on the scans I am to procure. Hospitable wombs galore. On the last chart, a sticky note with a message from my supervisor reads, I know you were thinking of switching to gynae when we last spoke. Good practice. Have fun. It has used 3 pads already this shift. 4, Janice corrects. You changed before the nap. You weren't supposed to be bleeding anymore. Jessica G, Caitlin W, Sarah Beth I mumble. First, their names, then deep breaths. Jessica G, Caitlin W, Sarah Beth I. Jessica, Caitlin, Sarah Beth, Jessica, Caitlin, Sarah Beth, Jessica, Courtney, Sarah Beth, Jessica, Kelly, Sarah Ann, Caitlin, Sarah Beth. Listen to me. You shouldn't be bleeding. You shouldn't be working. Jessica, Caitlin, Sarah Beth, Jessica, Caitlin, Sarah Beth. Jessica is in 9002 on the 4th floor. The elevator is still out of order. Doctor, go home. I decide to take the stairs, barely aware of the grunts that emit from my lips with each step. My body knows of a good dream I had that my mind does not completely recall, keeping the pain at bay a little. No ice, no hands, no it. Janice tuts. Again. I reach the 4th floor, feeling as though I'm holding myself together by the veins. I bring my hand to my forehead to mop away the sweat with the back of my palm before pushing open the floor's door. Here, on the most foreign floor of Gerard's, it smells like tears and lemon-scented bleach. The walls are millennial pink. The hospital staff wears pastels of every hue. The parents identify whether they are first-timers or seasoned professionals by their behaviors. The new fathers cling to hospital coffee cups. Old birthers play games on their phones between contractions. It is especially evident we never have enough beds in this hospital on this floor, too. Someone is wailing with pre-delivery pain in the waiting room. When I go to ask for the whereabouts of my patient, Nurse Harlow, the newest RN on the floor, points to the screaming woman and informs me that that is Jessica G. He goes to find a free room again now that I have arrived to see her. I was told she was on way to be induced, I tell him when he returns with an apology, a promise of 10 more minutes, and a wheelchair. She's clearly in pre-labor. Can you page an attending on call? He jets off. Jessica G is heaving, face alight with rosy exertion. I'm grateful for her sweating. It puts my sheen to shame. Her chart said she is having a boy. Jessica? Jessica, I'm one of your doctors. Can you sit here for me? I corral her clenched muscles into a wheelchair. I understand you're a little early. Do you remember when your contractions started? Jessica G howls. I don't think she can hear you, Janice says, or generally even knows you're here. I spot a hallway from the corner of my eye with less traffic. The partners who swooned at the sight of blood stand vigil outside the doors of their respective delivery rooms, peeking intermittently through the door's square windows for updates on their coming children. They grin in the face when they do, and then go to pace again. They part like a hairline when I bring Jessica to the window at the end of the corridor, perturbed by her shouting. It blends in with the other birthers here. Nurse Harlow has yet to reemerge. Jessica G's skin is shifting from rosy to pale. My eyes flash downward. Her pants are stained a light red. Mucus plug. Keep her comfortable, Janice sings. Good practice. I have never grown dizzy at the sight of blood before. I am a doctor. Jessica's, however, sickens me. At once it is my legs before me, then hers, then mine, then Janice's. Where is the nurse? Where is the nurse? Where is the nurse? Where is the nurse? It's killing her, Janice says. Her voice is loud in my ears, and a shock of black coffee to my system. The walls stop turning for a moment when they hear her approach. I hear her footsteps. I hear her footsteps. And then I feel Janice's hands as they go to sit on my waist. I do not have the strength to jump anymore. Jessica G is still screaming. She has red hair under all the sweat and tears. A rich auburn, almost like Janice's. Hers is dyed, though. It's killing her, like yours is killing you. Doctor, if you won't go home, save her. I feel Janice take my right hand. We bend together, her weight a familiar comfort against my back. My eyes slide shut. Janice presses her other hand against my ailing middle. She's all alone, Janice notes. Do you think she's persevering too? Where are you? I murmur. I can't see you. I can feel you. My right hand is placed palm down on something wet. I let an eye flutter open. Jessica's thigh. I'll assist. Janice brings it to Jessica's belly. The mother-to-be is keening, suffering unknown to the world. Like mine. The partners who patrolled the delivery rooms are long gone, crowded together by the magazine stand. Good. I am free to do my work. Janice tugs at the waistband of Jessica's pants. Butcher is not a cower, like those assorted lovers. Mons pubis. I slide a hand inside. He is the doctor you would want at your bedside. Clitoris. He will hold his lover's hand when their girl's first birthday comes. Labia minora. And he will think of killing me. The car seat box carves a cut into my forehead. My fingers search, my fingers card. Hymen. I feel Jessica convulse around my fist. I'll be fast, baby. Cervix. Where is it? Uterus. Where is it? Ovary. I find the clump. Janice cheers. I pull it free. It is the size of my fist, fully formed but somehow still formless, a crimson, fleshy lump of clay. I raise my eyes. Jessica G's blood on the walls reminds me that it is February now, pink and red, Valentine's Day, red hearts, red crosses. It slides from my hand and curls against the tips of my shoes as if for warmth. Would my it have been a Libra? Would they have gone to school together? I wonder what Jessica was going to name them. Butcher, Janice sings. Butcher, butcher, butcher. Jessica is no longer screaming or flailing or doing much of anything. She slumps in the wheelchair. Blood runs from her. She is a spilt glass of tomato juice. I dive for a corner of a wall to squeeze myself behind. My breaths draw like I'm blowing into a balloon. Jessica isn't moving. No one's near, but surely someone has heard by now that the screaming stopped. They will return, ears relieved, and then see what I've done. Do no harm, 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 do no harm. I have to find an attending, my supervisor, someone. I have to tell them what's happened. But what's happening to me? Does anyone care? How do serial killers do this over and over? How do doctors do this over and over? How have I done this over and over? Jessica was younger than me. I read her chart. I've read hundreds of charts. And she was alone. They always die alone. I want to be alone. I use the wall to heave myself up, half praying Jessica will raise her eyes at my movements. She does not. I do not remember the names of my next patients. I've lost sight of their charts. Maybe an overachieving intern has claimed them as their own. Clara? Marianne? Jessica. Jessica. My knees wobble like a newborn deer's. Home. I take my leave, my handiwork on display in this pastel gallery. I do not turn my head to see if I've been at all perceived. Eyes glued to the linoleum. I flee the scene. On my way to the front foyer, I collide with a resident from my cohort that I do not know the name of, maybe something with an M. Margaret, Michelle, Mel. She says nothing about my blood-stained attire, an unwitting accomplice already. She probably thinks I've been in the pit, headed to get changed after some happenstance catastrophe. She laughs at her clumsiness and asks me if I'll be at Butcher's girlfriend's shower tomorrow. I laugh with her. Not only is it February, but tomorrow is Saturday. I'd be stumped if someone asked me whether it was day or night. I'll be there, feeling way better. Can't wait. Can't think is more like it. Want something to eat? I would offer it warm, but your microwave is broken. You're so funny. Wait, actually, the takeout might have gone bad. Best I can offer is a glass of half and half. Pass. I'm lactose intolerant anyways. I don't know why I still buy it. Bullshit, we've got an ice cream together. I'm lactose intolerant, not dead. I live life on the edge. And you call me Benny. Not in a good way. Why are you here? Didn't you see what I did? I see everything. But right now, I'm just looking for the moon. It's too cloudy, though. Your back's to the window. Yeah, I gave up that way. Just trying to connect telepathically now. Like you and me. Are you sure you're awake? Am I awake? You're awake. Or are you just too chicken to admit you've been staring at me while I lay here, Edward Cullen? Am I becoming in the moonlight? So what if I was? What accent was that? Southern Belle. So what if you were? Your breath smells like rubbing alcohol. Gas station mouthwash. You didn't brush? So college. I was never college to begin with. You know that. Yes, which is obviously why you're in a surgical program and almost done with your residency, might I add. 4 years is not almost done. Either stop hogging the blanket or close the window. I don't think the moon wants to see you. I'm not hogging the blanket. I can't close the window. I can't do anything. So I'm finishing your paper. I still haven't finished? It's the 9th. No, it's past midnight, the 10th. It's the 13th and 3 a.m. You say that like it's a good thing. Relax, I'm done now. Oh, phew. In that case, thanks. What do you think? It's good. But why in God's name did I sacrifice so much of my time on something that some professor will only flip through on a Sunday morning, sipping coffee and getting crumbs from a biscotti all over the pages? Is time the right word? Impressive deadpan. Mine is all starting to feel silly. Talking to me too? No, just my time, my life, how I'm spending it. Even if you written nonsense, I don't think I'd care. Even if Katz loves it, if he reads it in front of everyone as an example of what to do for next time, I still don't think I'd care. I won't care if the file gets corrupted tomorrow, after I've saved it and I lose all the work. If my laptop explodes, for that matter. The country is exploding. I need to change my pad. It's been exploding since forever. I've been exploding since forever. Maybe things don't feel silly, just ridiculous. Disgustingly ridiculous. Oh. I know. Self-pity. But whatever, I guess. I'll hand it in and then that's that. On I study, on I work. I get what you mean, though. I think. Can't believe you spent this much money for a that's that. I'm a sucker. Or got suckered in the pursuit of excellence. You're still young, and I'm sure your professors know too. Know what? How disgustingly ridiculous it all is. How you all get spit into the world with yet another piece of paper claiming you're more educated than you feel and passionless. When will it come back? The passion. It depends, I'm sure. For me, it came in and out. Most of the time in when I watched Mitchie get on the bus to school. To get it back, sometimes I just reminded myself of him. I'm so happy you looked like me, that I got him out before his father took him. We're not all mothers. Find your Mitchie. I'm my Mitchie. Then what's your name? Humor me, please. I wasn't like you. I wasn't a doctor. I didn't feel a desire to constantly prove myself to an invisible audience. I'm a creature of practicality. I'm sure if receptioning ended up not cutting it, I'd have found something else to do. Humans aren't just one thing for the rest of time. Lots of our staff are. My supervisor is, Kat's is. Your supervisor is a tourist. And Kat's could be a husband, a biker, maybe, and tons of other things. But if a stranger were to walk up to him and ask him, "What are you?" he wouldn't immediately say husband or father. He wouldn't say biker or bread baker. He'd say he's a professor. That's the first instinct, just like I'd say resident. I bet if aliens landed on the planet and abducted him and asked him what he was, he probably wouldn't even say human first. We're barely meant to know our teachers' first names. I'd have said mother. Well, I can't. And I didn't know my mother's first name until I was 3. So if you weren't a surgeon and things had turned out differently, what would you want to do? I don't know. Sit in my apartment and drink wine. Maybe write something that doesn't get biscotti all over it. You've wanted to be a writer this whole time? God, no, I don't know. That and not just that and nothing and everything at all. You definitely talk like a writer. You write me like a writer. How would you know? I like the poems in your trash can. You're writing me now. Fuck you. Haven't you wanted to be anything other than a receptionist? Of course. Don't you remember? Yes. No. I saw a ballet with my mother in New York when I was 6. I loved all the tulle and the long legs and decided I wanted to be a prima ballerina. I wore my hair in a bun for a year. Had to cut it to my chin because it was so matted by the time he finally took it down. Yikes. Then I was backstage crew for a musical in high school, and I thought I could be a stage manager. I liked watching the inner machinations, all the moving cogs running across a lightless stage between scenes, the stage light on you when the auditorium is empty. I liked working the parts, controlling them, floating with the tide when things went awry, and fixing. Always fixing. Patching costumes, making new props out of broken ones, painting over scratches and foot skids on set pieces. I wanted to be a ballerina because I liked the way watching them made me feel peaceful. And a stage manager because I could cause that peace in a storm. Then I was graduating. Then I was at Gerard's in the emergency room. Then I had a baby. Then I met you. Ah. Does that still make me just a receptionist? Just shy of a human? You know you're never included with the masses when I go on my rants. You get it. I mean everyone else. No. This just makes me something you tried to fix. Subjective. What else do I have but my opinion? Close the window. You're shivering. I like the breeze. You're contemplating. Your pillow talk is so morbid. I'm dead. My whole concept is morbid. I never had a plan B. Or a plan A, really. Just needed something to do. Something to fill me up. I think it's too late to not see this through now. I'm a resident. I'm smart. And blood doesn't bother me. You can help people a million different ways. You could be the founder of a new philosophy. You could write a song that could make someone stop crying. You could give a homeless person $20 on the street. It doesn't have to be this. I don't think you can do this anymore. I practically gave Patrick a car. It didn't fix the ridiculousness. And I thought you wanted to reception at my practice one day. It's not smart to work for friends. Some friend. Ouch. Sorry. No, you're not. Of course not. Not at all. You aren't either, for leaving. Because you're still here, aren't you? No harm, no foul. Otherwise, you would have shooed the elephant out of the room long ago and come with. So I'm here-ish. What's the elephant? All the times you think about when you wanted to tell me I'm beautiful and bit your tongue. All the times you've wondered if I've ached to hold your hand between your rounds at Gerard's. All the times you've watched me while I sleep. All the times you've caught me watching you. That elephant. Our star-crossed future. Your self-pity. I thought it represented the dream. No, the dream's the deadline. No metaphors, just a time's up. Janice. I'm right. I know I'm easier to swallow on the weekends and in between wine glasses, instead of between the pages of a book halfway through an all-nighter. I knew long-term and your work ethic and my son wouldn't all get along too well. It's this way now, only this way. Talking to me in your mind, in mirrors, between rounds. Don't you like loving me on your schedule, in light of all the other silliness we do? I didn't ask you to stay. You are useless. I can't feel you. I can barely see you. You saw my back to the window. You felt my hands, not his. Okay, maybe I don't want to stay. Let me go. I would tell you you were beautiful when you were asleep. Once a night. How in the world was I meant to have heard you? Do you know now, wherever you are, that I said so? I doubt it. Okay. Then, just in case you're wrong, I don't love you on a schedule. I don't. I love you all the time. I'll keep loving you all the time. I don't like cowards or liars. I am not a coward or a liar. Yes, you are. So was I. We all are. My first dream was to be a ballerina, but honestly, in the end, I just hated the way my thighs looked in those fucking tights. I told you I was okay with you being in my bed every so often because I assumed it would be easier than not having you at all. I told myself I was practical, and then I got divorced after a 3-month marriage. I told myself I was practical, and then I found out I was pregnant after that. I told myself I was practical, and then I fell in love with a doctor. I told myself I was practical, and then put me and my son's head through a windshield. Am I the doctor? Oh my God, yes, you're the doctor. Please accept my love for you, wherever I am. Accepted. Thank you. I hope you're not here when I wake up. Janice pets my hair. I don't want to set the world on fire. I sit on the windowsill of my apartment's living room, half in, half out. My leg swings through the open air and occasionally brushes against brick. Only the clock tells me it's been hours, not minutes, since abandoning my shift. My phone is silent in my hand. It has yet to vibrate itself alive with panic calls, demanding messages, anything. Maybe I am so outside that Nurse Harlow does not remember the resident he left the screaming lady with. My boobs aren't so wonderful after all. I need to change my pad. Gosh, again? You've got to get that checked out. Jessica G is sitting beside Janice at my coffee table now. They are working together to fill a Scrabble board with words I like. 2 pairs of fair eyebrows, both creased like unironed scrubs. Effervescent, chartreuse, lilacs, labia, cervix, uterus. Sounds of the bud. Jessica G is pretty. She and Janice could be mother and child, if you squint hard enough, and picture Mitchie 16 years older, and a girl. She won't listen to you, sweets, Janice gripes. I wouldn't bother. I'm keeping watch, I tell them both. I'm also contemplating the height to the ground from here and if it would make me a splot or just break one of my legs. Oh, right, you're a murderer, Jessica G recalls. I am calmer now, if you can call it that, and it is slower in its steady descent to my panties. I'm able to think again, consider options. There are ones beyond the window. It is almost tomorrow, almost the shower. Why would you tell the M1 you're going to that? I don't know. You gotta hunker down. Jessica gestures to a chair in the reflection of the window. You killed the woman. Come play some Scrabble. No, she needs to create an alibi, a community. A girl with friends doesn't kill. Janice points a tile at me. Go. Be you, but better. Endear them enough to make them want to vouch for you. Oh, she's smart. Listen to her, Jessica agrees. Janice extends a piece to me, smiling, sparkling. Go. And if you get the itch again, make that dream of yours come true. I open my palm. The tile is in it. When I look up again, Janice and Jessica G are gone. I am at the coffee table. On the Scrabble board is not a flurry of words, but one. A name. Butcher. I am not a killer. Ring. I have taken an oath to do no harm. Ring. Harm must include revenge. Ring. Harm must include revenge. Hello? Mother, I say. The other line goes flat. I don't know what I'm doing. I've killed a woman and no one knows it was me. My body is a temple of stretched, torn muscle. To fill the quiet, I say, I sold my car, your old Hyundai, and I had a miscarriage. Of sorts. Regardless, it's easier to admit to his existence aloud now, thanks to what I did to Jessica. I hear my mother blow a low, disbelieving breath into the receiver. What, some IVF nonsense gone wrong? Why am I doing this? No, Mother. All the good old-fashioned way. Then where's the lucky man who's wiping your tears? With his girlfriend, probably. Sorry, fiancé. I don't know. They're all the same. They got engaged after she got pregnant. You never know what to congratulate the happy couple on first. I get my laugh from my mother. It's jarring to hear it outside of my body. After all these years, she chuckles, you're still my daughter. What else are you up to now these days, other than selling the car you were conceived in? She loved that story. My mother used to call me her favorite surprise from God. That is religious talk for a cosmic mistake. I'm in the surgical residency program at St. Gerard's. I never left here after high school. My kinda girlfriend and her 2-year-old kid died in a car crash 2 months ago. No one knew we were together. I sold my car to some community college boy who just got his learner's permit. I got $100 for it. He works at the gas station I got the cupcakes at. I would have given it to him for free, but he called Lady Macbeth a bitch. My mother tisks and ignores the details. Some things never change. And that's not a sign enough from God to stop all this? You've killed a woman with your sin. I laugh. I am still in my bloody scrubs. You're right. You're so right, I did. I know programs. I still have all the brochures from when you were in high school. And there are so many new ones now, what with all the progress going on in D.C. For a moment, I wonder if she's realized her phone's been tapped like the rest of America did last year. But I know better than to think better of her. Her voice has taken on an ingrown, hatefully hopeful tinge. I need to change my pad. Is this why you called, baby? You want help? We can get you right. Mother, I lay with a woman and she dies. I accept kindness from a man and he rapes me. I think this is God telling me he doesn't exist. I can help you if you just let me. You can let me be your mom again. I never wanted to stop. I try to find Janice's eyes in the reflection of the window glass. Instead, I find a woman I do not know. She stares at me, steely-eyed, sure. I ache for her. No, she says. I am my own mother. I am my own daughter. I pick myself up after I've scraped my knees. I hold myself after a bad dream. I cut my own hair. I tie my own shoelaces. I wrap myself up in blankets after I finish crying. I took myself to school. I take myself to work. I am my own mother. I am my own daughter. I have had custody of myself since the day I was born. My mother is quiet again, for a while. Finally, she whimpers, What then? Did you call just to hurt me more? No, I say. I called because I thought I was going to kill myself. I just wanted to hear where it all began, see if life was worth it and all. I'm still bleeding. Then do what I should have done. Start fresh abroad and figure it out. I gasp. And defy our Lord and Savior again? Oh, Mother, what would Donald think of you? She hangs up. No trouble. I have to get a gift for the shower. Jessica G tells me that new parents are always grateful for diapers. Several family-sized packs jostle about in the shopping cart I walked up the grocery store premises. Janice used to say if you just look sure of yourself and move fast, then no one will ever question what you're up to. She was right. No one even noticed. This, or I guess Jessica. The shopping cart, however, will not make it on the bus. To keep pushing it along, I must walk to my destination. The wind laughs at me, and my perspiration freezes to my skin. Was I supposed to be on call today? Is Butcher? Is Janice? The hills are hell on it, and the rest of what's left of my uterus. I don't remember changing my pad before I left. I don't remember much of anything, outside knowing to follow the chirps of my phone's GPS for directions, shards of ice, a broken nose, and his finger pads. Janice appears in the shopping cart at the last stop sign I have to encounter before I've reached my destination, legs dangling over one wired edge. You told your mother about us? I nod at you. I hadn't even told them. It was implied. Nice coat. Jessica, watch out for the car. No need to die twice. Sorry. The three bloody musketeers crossed the 700 feet left to finish the journey. Butcher and his girlfriend live with his parents in their family house. 2 centuries ago, it was a plantation. The surrounding yard still sprouts wild cotton in the summer. I leave the shopping cart in a flower bed, ensuring the wheels crush their pedals as I roll them over, back and forth, back and forth. Once satisfied, I pile the diapers into a few stacks that I manage, tower by tower, to the front door. Janice and Jessica G watch my efforts from the porch swing. I think 10 boxes might have been overkill, Jessica whispers. I walk past them when I'm done and reach the front door's knocker. 2 taps later, and a middle-aged woman with gray hair is greeting me, cooing at the diapers and telling me that she is Butcher's soon-to-be mother-in-law. His mother is stuck in surgery. His father probably just didn't want to come and didn't care to make up an excuse. She ushers me into some grand room where the slave masters must have had their dinner parties and where the rest of my cohort gaffs and lounges now, warmed by cocktails and macarons. Little Butcher and his brother giggle across the walls in portraits with baseball bats in their hands, then sheathed in black face paint and gold jerseys, then branded with first and second debate club ribbons. My fellow residents' puzzled expressions tell me that I must be late and that I'm still wearing my scrubs. I look down, panicked, caught. They are clean. Hey, oh my goodness, we didn't think you'd make it. Butcher's girlfriend gathers me into a hug. No it gets on her dress. The others grin and wave their hellos, like we've been friends the whole time and they didn't just invite me for fear I'd hear of it offhand afterwards and hate them. Alibis. I was at work, I explained breezily. Someone gives me a cocktail. It is fruity. I gulp it down. I am dehydrated. Laughter. I blame it on a long day. Alibis. A glass of wine is in my hand now. They are discussing our supervisor, our deliberations and specialties. Still thinking about switching to gynae? Someone points at me. I barely want to be a doctor anymore, or a person. More laughter. She's just being humble, Butcher's girlfriend counters. Your supervisor says you're a natural. Butch was so jealous. He told me last night she was raving about you. About causing my death? Jessica G. interjects from the gift table. She is frowning at the impressive spread. Last night, I say carefully, kept a laboring woman alive all by herself long enough for an attending to get out of surgery and take over. That must have been so scary. I missed the hospital, but I can't help but be a little grateful for how things shook out in the end. And what was that supposed to have been, a 16-hour shift? How are you still standing? No wonder you got to go home early. I stopped comparing myself to women sometime after my middle school boyfriend cheated on me for not kissing him on a dare at a birthday party. I stopped feeling sorry for myself after my mother kicked me out for kissing a girl at senior prom. I size up Butcher's fiancée. Her freckled skin, her brown, freshly conditioned, hormone-lustrous hair, her round belly. She's beaming at me, healthily jealous, in secret mourning for her career, but happy for my success. For me. I never wanted to be a mother, I remember in this moment. Not truly. I was never taught how. I just didn't want to be alone anymore. I want my program supervisor's life. Sunburn. Itless. But in this moment, I want to be her. Didn't you hear her? Jessica says. I'm alive somewhere, holding on to my preemie for dear life somewhere. You didn't kill me. An attending got to me in time. You got to me in time. Janice scoffs. I think she would have preferred if you were a ghost. Makes me make more sense. I give Butcher's fiancé the warmest smile I can muster. It hurts my cheeks. I envy the janitors. Everyone laughs again. I watch her. She starts to too, but then seems to remember the well-used joke. Her eyes travel downwards, like they're about to stop at my breast, but then she takes in my red coat. Her smile warps. Yes. Yes! The butcher himself slices through the front door just as his girlfriend hurls all over her tea sandwich. He is at her side in an instant, carting her off, rubbing her shoulders, her hair. The women of our cohort coo their sympathy and go on eating their hors d'oeuvres. Janice follows the soon-to-bes. Jessica remains by the gift table. Janice, I say. She flashes her tongue at me as she disappears behind a corner. Butcher's mother-in-law is giving me a strange look. I ask to go splash my face with water, and she tells me where the guest bathroom is. I go to find Janice instead. She's standing outside a door, face pressed against the wood. She sees me watching and waves me over. Getting good. I join her. The lovers are yelling. About me. I feel honored. The way she looks at me and the things she said, I just remembered it. And she's wearing the coat that looks like, did something happen? Did you date her? She liked me. She asked me out in December, as soon as you left for bed rest. I turned her down, baby, that's all. I remember the ice. I remember his hands. I do not make myself forget the ice or his hands. Janice takes one of mine now and squeezes. Maybe our girl just hates thinking of you with other women as much as I do. I'm sorry. Why didn't you tell me? I shouldn't have tried to be nice. Should never have invited her. I can get rid of her, baby, if you want. Say the word. Janice tugs at me. We find the guest bathroom. I splash my face with water and recognize myself in the mirror. We go back to Jessica at the gift table. Something warm is traveling down my leg. I did not change my pad. You had a dream about killing him, Janice says. And you smiled in the dream. You looked beautiful. Jessica awes at us and then is missed, elsewhere with her not-so-it anymore. Janice sits her hands on my middle. I melt like I always did when she was alive. I think we should dream for a little while longer. I nod, relieved. She'll stay. The wine is singing in me, as sucrose and rich as she was in my mouth. We stare at Butcher's girlfriend's shower gifts. I wonder if I should make a graceful exit now, before I am excommunicated for a crime I did not commit. I am the other woman, my dead fetus, the love child. Even her it gags at the sight of me. But Janice is here, and Jessica is not a ghost. I simply cannot be awake. If it had been a girl, Janice whispers into my hair, would you have named her after me? My eyes fall on a familiar-looking box in one corner. There is a slight tinge of scrubbed-out red on one of its edges. A big pink bow covers the rest of the damage my forehead left behind. The car seat. We'd like you to go. It's said so quietly, so high and unsure of itself, I almost think I've hallucinated it, like everything else. I just wanted to forget, for a while. We'd prefer it. I forgot, and you're remembering. If you left, and didn't make too much of a scene, our baby's dead, and you're wilting. I turn. Butcher looms before me, expressionless, purposeful. He is a mirage in Merlot. It's better this way, he says. For me, just me. His mouth is not moving with the shape of his words. They look like they're forming my name. Oh, right. That's what it was. I called my mother, I say, and I told her, and she didn't care. I laugh. Now it is funny. Everything about this is funny. Butcher, I don't even think I care. Butcher is still shimmering. Maybe I did kill you that night. I'm sorry. I have a baby on the way. I have a father who was already satisfied with the first son he got. I have a brother I hate for saving lives so fashionably. That's no excuse, but it's mine. The one I would use if I ever really apologized, if I ever really wanted to. But I wanted to forget, and I did. I forgot everything, like I said I would, and I gave it all to you. You were right to be scared, I say. I am feverish with his truth, and at last with mine. If you really were, I was pregnant. I was pregnant, and I would have named her Janice. But I broke my it like a yoke with a wire hanger. Then I hit it with a dictionary like you slapped my hand, like your brother struck you, and then I buried what was left of it in Nabroxen because I dreamed of her becoming a boy, and I dreamed of her becoming you, and I am not Janice, and it would not be Mitchie. I am my own Mitchie. That night, with the ice in my hands, by the time I got home, I had forgotten already. When I got there, I studied for the boards for hours. I went to sleep beside my fiancée, kissed her lips and her belly goodnight. I'd forgotten to wash my hands because I'd forgotten you. Your cum got on her nightgown. I laugh. I used the hanger and the dictionary and the naproxen. I killed it. I fell back asleep. And then I had a dream about killing you. It was the best dream I've ever had in my life. I keep having it. Janice lets go of me. Or maybe I let go of her when I go to bend and grab for the only box in the grand pile that is familiar to me. I'm having it again. Butcher watches as I raise it above my head, expressionless, purposeful. I was myself that night, he confirms, angel of death, and I would have killed you and fucked you again after if I hadn't remembered I had to study. I'll do it again tonight when she thinks you're gone. I'll be fast, baby. The box comes down over his head. He crumbles. I follow him. I am Glee. Everything is funny. Anything is funny. The box is not as heavy as I thought it'd be. I am bashing my butcher's face into the car seat he bought for his future child. The dead one he forced into me finishes its fall to his floor. I am not fast. I card my fingers through his hair. His head falls from my hands. Bloodied brown hair streaks the carpet, gets into bits of sick. It is curly. It is brown. The hair is brown. The hair is brown. Her hair has come away from my hands. Her head has come away from my hands. Her blood is on my hands. I wipe it on my front, expecting the image to fade. I blink. Do no harm, do no harm, do no harm, do no harm, do no harm. Jesus Christ. The blood is still sticking to the fabric of my clothes and stains my palms. Under me, Butcher's fiance's neck is broken and she is dead. Or maybe she's just having a baby. I grow away with the screaming. It is not Jessica's or mine, alone, persevering. It is a chorus. A dirge for it. The air is drenched in iron. That's from Butcher's girlfriend. And notes of bleach. That's from my scrubs. The cacophony of the emergency room. I search for Janice. She's dead too. I need to change my pad.